Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Another video which is going to blow you away, and in today's video we have to talk about these amazing ancient flying machines which were literally showing in paintings and drawings in the Middle Ages, and also even before that. This is one of the most mysterious things in the past, and literally right now nobody is really able to explain what the heck happened. We have all these images here and paintings in which people are surprised hundreds of years ago seeing these discs sort of devices floating around. They were even in coins, they were seen in different cities. I mean, because they were even shown in coins is because they were quite common. They were a common occurrence. Otherwise, why would you put a flying saucer in the coins back in the day? Hundreds of years ago, right? It just doesn't make any sense, right? Which implies something quite shocking and quite impressive, even in the year 700 DC, that there were effectively flying vehicles which are hovering on top of the earth, and these levitating vehicles maybe sometimes were actually interacting with the humans on earth. That's a scary thought, isn't it? I mean, look at this one. Again, we have a flying saucer also bringing some light on top of this. Okay, I think this was one of the blessing of John, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, it's a painting from the past depicting the same thing, a disc which is flying on top of the ancient old population, and then people are not that surprised, which is again quite interesting. As you can see here, people are, accustomed to these things. Look at this one. This one, literally, this person is investigating a flying fortress, and actually on the fortress you can see there's actually population. There's people on there, houses and everything. This was completely floating, and this person is kind of saluting, like saying hi to them effectively, and using one of his hand telescopes to effectively just check them out and look at them, and just kind of wave the hand with his hat. Again, this is almost like it's normal, like it happened before, almost like a cruise, right? If you think about it, right? It's just bizarre and very strange indeed. And this one as well. This person, for example, is waving his handkerchief once more to the people in this flying castle. There's a couple of people here, as you can see here, and this flying city or flying castle, flying fortress, or whatever you want to call it, is literally floating above the clouds. Again, very suspicious, and this doesn't make any sense. Like, why would people back in the day, hundreds of years ago, alright, would illustrate something like this? Again, it just, why would they even do this? Like, there must be a hidden meaning behind this. It was just not made randomly because someone felt like it, especially because the detail, and of course they're very similar. These discs are very similar to what we see in the past in other cultures. Again, the same thing, as you can see here, a disc on top of a mountain, all right, and the people this time praying to it, giving it thank you. Then we have one more here. This is of course a bit more modern, as you can see here, maybe like what, late 17th century potentially, and we have a very interesting flying device on here with an American flag, which is also quite interesting, as you can see here, and this device is just hovering above the sky, which is again quite shocking, guys, isn't it? I mean, you can assume that this is just like fantasy. You can assume that this is just purely the artistical interpretation of people of what they wanted to have in the future. But my money is on something completely different. My money is on the fact that these flying fortresses actually existed. It was lost technology, levitation technology, the Vimanas, by the way, which are mentioned in the Hindu, all right, Hindu old documents. In the Vimanas, they were literally devices which were flying in the sky, and they were fortresses. Okay, in the Indian, they're called Indian Vedas. The Indian Vedas are ancient documents written by the old Hindu, the precursors of Indians, the modern Indians, and they were talking about the same thing. These giant building fortresses which were literally floating about in the sky, which is just impressive. And again, we see this repeated across different centuries, across different timelines, and the fact that they are actually on a coin kind of tells us a lot about what the heck is happening here. Tells us that this is just not just mere coincidence. This is something much more profound, a hidden knowledge. People were accustomed to these things and they were actually praying to them, and they were seen as a symbol of authority, of power, of a civilization which was above everyone else. Very important, right? So guys, remember this very important thing. If you look at the past, and if you look at the old paintings, and if you look at the old drawings and sketches, you will see things which don't make any sense. And remember the most important thing, the current history, the modern history, was written by people who want to convince you of certain events as they want them intended. So if they want to hide the past, the true past, of course they would have never mentioned these things. They would just ignore them and hope that people just believe that they were fairy tales, they were stories, they were just people hallucinating on drugs or whatever, and that's pretty much it, right? And with this, they were hoping that humanity will forget about these amazing structures, effectively floating cities in the sky, floating fortresses in the sky. But yes, it's quite astonishing, and I would really much want to see one of these floating fortresses with my own eyes at some point in the future. I'm pretty sure that in the future, one day, we will recover this technology and people will actually be able to utilize this technology, and maybe there will be floating cities in the future, you know, because there will come a time everything goes full circle. Technology goes full circle. It's always been the case. There's a start, there's a middle, and there's a finish. And now we are approaching once more the peak of technology. And once you reach it, there's going to be a fall and then a reset. And this is exactly what happens every couple hundred years. I don't know how many, like 200, 300, 400, 500 years, no idea. But the cycle always repeats itself continuously. So guys, that's it for today's video. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like because it does support the channel quite massively. Appreciate your comments as always, guys. And as always, see you in the next video.